How to get a job from someone who hasn't had a job in well over a decade. You ready? You ready for these pearls of wisdom? It's pretty much the same thing that I say every week, but you gotta skill up, yo. It's true. If you are the best qualified, you will eventually win. Now, I understand that nepotism exists, but after a while, you become undeniable. What I will say before we get into all of that is, just think about it from the employer's mindset. What do they want? They want someone who's competent. That's it. They don't care about you or how nice you are or what your mum's name is. No, I want to know what your mum's name is, but I'm not interested in employing you, frankly. But, so, all they are looking for is someone who can do it. I was actually just talking the other day to the guy from General Mishlov's Operation Chicken, who's in quarantine, teen. Well, you shouldn't have bloody gone overseas then, should you? Bloody grasshopper. But, inside joke. Yeah. What was I talking about again? Oh yeah, that's right, the jobs. All he was saying is that it's really obvious once you're an employer why everybody in the employee side is like, man, it's so hard to get a job. You know what the actual reality of the situation is? It's really easy to get a job if you are in the top 20% of your field. You will always be in demand. You will be recession proof. And that is just part and parcel to the fact that he, as an employer, if one of his chefs says, I'm not working anymore, they will beg him to come back. They will give him an increase like that. 20% increase on salary, no questions asked, because they know that he is vital to the enterprise. There is very few people that are. Most people just aren't that good at their job. Oh. So, how do you get around that? How do you personally get around that? You have to skill up. As I've been saying from the very beginning of this channel, you have to read an hour a day in your field. If you aren't doing that, you are never going to... Well, actually, you will be in the top 20% eventually if you just, really stick at it. But you will make so many mistakes of, Dad, what do you mean you can't cook a donut in the fucking, meat dryer? Is that a thing? Well, I don't know. Just where's my food? Yeah, you have to think about it from that angle, which is that in the job market, you are competing against that 20%. Are you in it or are you out of it? Be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. Where are you? Where are you? The only other things that I can say quickly, if you just want to try and get a job and skim through, the best way to do that, I think, is to just read up on the business that you are going into. Just try and find out as much information as you can about it, because, and as I've always said this, right? I always say this. Don't I always say this? But if you read anything for long enough, you start getting interested in the topic because connections start wiring up. After a while, you just get particularly interested in other subjects because the wires are already there. So it goes, So it's very so you have to make sure that the things that you are interested in are of value. This is why I have such a big hate on for sport and fashion. Well, unless you want to be an athlete or in fashion or whatever. But for most people, it is just this passive activity that they are consuming, and they are getting really good at the neural connectors going, oh my God, is that a Chanel? Is that going to help you in your real life? No, it's not, is it? Is it? So, if you are going for a job at, say, I don't know, whatever that watch place is that always just has pictures of celebrities out the front going, only's the best. How much is that watch again? $7,000. Is it any better at all to ones that you can get at Golo? No, in fact, the ones at Golo are better. But say that you're going there, you should be going there and you should just be like, yes. Is that the Timex that is made in Switzerland and is made by a master craftsman timer who don't really exist anymore and are just employed so somebody can say he's made by a master crafted timer because now we have fucking digital clocks and he, wasn't necessary since about the 70s. That's what you need to get into, right? You just need to, when you are going for, say, that watchman job, go there, see what they are actually doing on site. Just do a bit of research before that so you at least know what you're talking about. If you do that, you will be ahead of the vast majority of people that are applying for the job, straight off the bat. The other thing, obviously, is to have a likable personality. Now, that is something that if you don't have a likable personality, you have to work on, but you get there eventually. I think that a huge part of having a likable personality is just having a positive mindset. So, what I want you to do as an experiment after this is, first off, I want you to make an action plan of just asking yourself this question, because it just varies for everybody else. I'm always asking general questions on this channel, but that's because I'm trying to hit 10,000 people at once, right? But I want you to ask this question for yourself. How do I skill up in my field? How do I do that? Do I go to seminars? Is there a particular lecture course that I should be taking? Is there books that I should be reading on? Obviously, all of those things you should be doing, but definitely the number one thing is that you should be reading books. But the second thing that I want you to think about is, because there are some people that just naturally walk into these situations and they get ahead in life. Ready for that Ben Shapiro moment? My girlfriend's an actress. And she gets a lot of roles despite having very little experience in the field. She's only been acting for about 1.5 years. And she has gotten more jobs than people that have been in the field for 7. Why? Because she's likable. She's also good at it, and that's exactly what she did. She went out and she studied the practice and has been studying it non-stop for the last 1.5 years. So she probably knows more about acting than a lot of those people that have been doing it for 7 years, because again, what are you doing in that time? Are you using it properly? Or are you just wasting it? You can say, I'm an actor for 7 years, but that whole time have you been reading books about it? Sorry, over and over again, books. But yeah, but she was taking a bunch of courses for it. She has an acting coach that is actually quite well known. You'd know who they are, but that's between me and my girlfriend. All right? Keep your business out of it. Yeah, so what should I be doing to skill up in this situation? That's the first question you should be asking. But the other question, and I think that you should just be getting into this practice. I just rediscovered it the other day. This is the other thing that I hate about the self-help. Like, look, I love and hate it, but there's all these things that you should be doing daily routines that you sort of just slip in and out of because of the ways of life. That's why you need to keep reading self-help, so that you're reminded of these basic tasks that you should be doing daily, these basic rituals, because they help. But I just started this one recently, which is that you start off every day writing your goals down. I've been very consistent with that. But the other thing that I stopped doing, which is great, is just writing for 3 pages. Just anything that comes out, stream of consciousness. What I want you to do after that, you should be doing that every single day, by the way, because it just gives you a snapshot into your mindset and where it is and where you want it to go. But after that, I want you to read back, because that is what your mind is thinking. Because you don't have time, you just write. You just write for 3 pages and you stop any thought that comes into your head. And the other thing that you'll see as well, if you are hesitant about writing it down, because the thing is, no one is going to see any of this stuff except for you and, you. Maybe someone will snoop around and your mum will be like, oh my God, my boy's sad. But let's hope that doesn't happen to you. And so you just write down for those 3 pages. And what will happen at the end of that is that you will have a snapshot into your mind. What I noticed is, because I remember I started doing this at the very beginning of my self-help journey, maybe when I was 19 or whatever. And I remember explicitly reading back on that. First of all, my thoughts were dumb. And but second, on top of that, I had this like, man, fuck the world attitude. Now when I read back at it, everything about it is just like, all the right things in all the right places. Yeah, we're going down. Or insert any kind of college rock pop song that kind of resurfaces every 3 or 4 years on the charts. Now when I read back at my writing, it's just filled with gratitude. It is filled with excitement. I'm looking forward to the future. I've got all of these cool memories that I have from the past. In the present, I'm just going, yeah, today's going to be a really good day for the blah, 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 blah. That is how my mindset is now. And as a result of that, I think that I've become a more attractive person when I'm just interacting with people on a daily basis, right? There's obviously people that are much better than me at it, but the thing is, I started out as one of those little emo teens. Now I'm in a much better position. And it was because of the process of self-help. But I want you to get a snapshot. That's why I want you to start this now. Where is your mind now? That's what I want you to do. That is the primo thing you should be doing now. Because obviously, if you have a job interview tomorrow and you haven't been studying for the job, you're not going to get it. But what you have to do is just get into the position where, like, at least you give off this nice vibe when you're there. At the very least. At the very least. The other thing that you should be thinking about when you go into those job interviews is, what kind of energy are you bringing in terms of, are you giving all of your power away while you're there, or are you sitting there and it's kind of a job interview on both ends? You're just sitting there and being like, what have you got to offer me as well? what you are looking for mostly with an employee and employer is a win-win relationship. So if you're just going in there and being like, please me lord, I'll shine your shoes on top for nothing, do a little dance I will, you will give off an energy where the employer most of the times will be like, ugh. The same thing with hot chicks. It's the exact same thing. Ugh. But if you are going into it and you are just seeing in the job interview what they are willing to give you, is your time worth it? Should you be there? Is there a better place that is suited for you? I understand that that's really difficult if you're just like, I'm on my dick, man, I just need that check. But let's just assume that you have a skill set and that you are in a little more demand than somebody just being like, yo, I work Target, Kmart, I don't give a fuck, man. I don't care which one make better shoes, man. So if you are just a little bit better off in life, that piece of advice is for you, I guess, which is that just don't give your power away. And on top of that, don't try and do any of those little shitty tricks that you learned in how to outplay. It shouldn't be that kind of a situation when you are in a relationship with an employee and an employer. Really, it should be just this kind of co-worker attitude of we're all working towards this goal. But what you should be doing when you are in that situation is, do I want to be working towards that goal? Because I always think that if you can avoid it, you shouldn't be devoting your time to something that you hate. You're too valuable for that. All right, so remember, write down 3 pages of where your mind is at. And then, even though you're not supposed to be doing this for a month at least, if you are going into a job interview or anything like that, just read back on it. See where your head is at. See how negatively you are talking to yourself. And if you are talking negatively to yourself, I want you to then do this. Write down 10 memories that you liked. Write down 10 things that you are looking forward to in the future. And write down 10 things that you can be grateful for now. So past, present, and future, what you're grateful for, essentially. Just write down 30 of those things. I guarantee you your mind will shift. See ya. Give me more questions. Like the video.